Welcome to the Clean Slate Podcast, brought to you by CleaRank.com.
Good to be here.
Today, we're taking a close look at Aron groups. We're using our own CleaRank ClearScore analysis.
That's right.
And our goal, really, is to just lay out the potential risks for anyone thinking about trading with them. And, well, the headline finding isn't great. Aron Groups gets a failed ClearScore. It's just 0.2 out of 5.
Yeah, 0.2. That's extremely low. It signals very high risk.
Definitely.
And that overall score, it comes from looking at the individual parts, the categories we assess. When you see those scores, it really paints a picture.
It really does. So that 0.2 overall, it breaks down like this. Regulation, they got a 0.1.
Barely registers.
Exactly. Trade execution, a bit better, but still low at 0.5. Withdraw speed, how fast you get your money, 0.2.
Worrying.
Customer support, same as regulation, 0.1. And reputation is also just 0.2.
So really weak across the board.
Absolutely. Let's start with that regulation score, 0.1. What's the core issue there?
Well, the main problem is they lack any real credible regulatory oversight. Aron Groups is registered in the Marshall Islands.
Right.
Now, that location, it's often used, as a flag of convenience. Minimal financial rules.
Right, a tax haven often, with little oversight.
Precisely. They also claim a physical office in Cyprus, but all indications suggest it's just a mailbox, basically. No actual regulated presence there.
So no SINE-SEC license?
No. No SICC, no FCA from the UK, no CFTC in the US, none of the big ones that actually protect traders.
And that Marshall Islands registration, that in itself is a warning sign, isn't it?
It absolutely should be. If there's zero financial oversight, what happens if there's a dispute, if something goes wrong?
You're on your own.
Essentially, yes. Recovering funds would be incredibly difficult for most people. It's just not a place known for robust financial regulation.
So the lack of real oversight is key. No safety net.
Exactly. And that Cyprus office, seeming like just an address, reinforces that they aren't accountable to any strong regulator. They seem to be actively avoiding it.
Okay, so operating in the shadows, effectively. Yeah. Now, another thing, something quite concerning, is who they seem to be targeting.
Ah, yes.
They say they don't serve people in the US, UK, or the EU. But our data shows something different.
That's right. It's a direct contradiction. Their own disclaimer says no service to those regions. But we looked at their website traffic, where people are actually coming from.
Okay.
Significant percentages from those exact places. Over 20% from the US, Germany, 27%, Netherlands, about 7.6%, the UK, 7%.
Wow, those aren't small numbers. That's not accidental traffic.
It really doesn't look like it. It suggests they are, actively trying to attract clients from places they claim to restrict.
And didn't we actually test this directly with their support?
We did, yeah. One of our team posed as a UK citizen.
Okay.
And asked specifically about opening an Islamic account. The live chat support agent confirmed it was possible.
Which is a direct violation of UK rules, FCA regulations.
Absolutely. Legitimate brokers, the ones who follow the rules, they usually block IPs from restricted countries precisely to avoid this.
But Aron Groups isn't doing that.
No. It seems they're playing on that offshore appeal, maybe luring people with things like nano accounts, small deposits.
And that really high leverage we saw.
Exactly, which we should definitely talk more about. But this targeting, combined with the lack of regulation, it's a dangerous mix.
It really is. Okay, let's shift to something else that raises, even more serious questions. The background of the CEO, Farzad Vajihi.
Yes, this is a significant point. Mr. Vajihi is the founder and CEO. He has ties to Iran's financial sector.
Okay, and what did the research uncover there?
For Aron Groups, he co-founded another brokerage called IBORS.
IBORS.
Yes. And back in 2020, IBORS was actually blacklisted by Iran's own Securities and Exchange Organization.
Blacklisted? Why?
The official reason cited was illegal activity as an investor harm.
That sounds serious.
Very. Reports suggest its collapse left quite a few Iranian traders facing significant losses. Not a good history for someone running a brokerage asking for your funds now.
No, definitely not. And has he been open about this connection?
Quite the opposite, it seems. His LinkedIn profile, it appears to have been scrubbed clean of any mention of IBORS.
Really?
Yeah. But we were able to confirm his involvement through other sources, like Iranian financial forums and archived web pages using the Wayback Machine.
So the history is there, even if it's been hidden.
It seems so, which raises questions about transparency, And again, that Cyprus office seems more like a virtual address than a regulated base. No SIC oversight there either.
And the Iranian connection brings up other potential issues too, right? Like sanctions.
That's a valid concern, yes. Given his background and the fact that Aron Group seems quite popular within Iran, we saw over 11,000 monthly searches there.
Well,
So there's a potential risk related to international sanctions, like those from the US or EU, especially as they allow funding via crypto, which can sometimes be used to bypass restrictions. We also noted some connections on his LinkedIn profile, linking to executives at companies based in Iran that are actually sanctioned by the U.S. Treasury's OFAC.
so if sanctions tighten, or if regulators look closer,
The whole operation could potentially face serious problems, maybe even collapse suddenly, and traders' funds could be caught in the middle, possibly frozen.
that's a huge risk factor that people might not even consider. A political risk, almost.
It is. It adds another layer of instability.
Okay. So moving from the CEO's background to how they present themselves online, awards and reviews, what did we find there?
Yeah, this is another area where things aren't quite what they seem. They display several awards on their website.
Like Best CFD Broker 2024.
Exactly, things like that. But our research suggests these are basically paid-for awards. They come from obscure outfits, sometimes called award mills.
Award mills.
Yeah, companies that hand out awards often without much real vetting or strict criteria, primarily as a revenue stream. Legitimate industry awards involve audits, regulatory checks, things Aron Groups likely wouldn't pass.
So they're essentially buying credibility that they haven't earned through performance or compliance.
That's what it looks like. It's about creating a positive but false impression.
And does this extend to things like Trustpilot reviews?
It certainly seems to. We analyzed their Trustpilot profile looking for suspicious patterns.
Yeah.
Our analysis indicates a very high likelihood, around 87%, that the reviews are not genuine, fabricated.
87%. That's huge. What were the signs?
Well, lots of copy-pasted sounding 5-star reviews, many from accounts with almost no other review history.
Okay.
We also saw sudden surges in these positive reviews, often appearing right after negative feedback or complaints about withdrawals were posted.
Like an attempt to drown out the criticism.
Exactly, and the praise is usually very generic: great broker, good service, but no real specifics about trading or withdrawals.
It really points to that known issue with some review platforms, doesn't it? Where companies can sometimes pay to manage their reputation.
It does. Trustpilot's model, where companies can subscribe for premium features, can sometimes create a conflict. It might make it easier for less scrupulous companies to, let's say, curate their profile and bury genuine negative feedback.
Makes it hard for users to get the real picture.
Very hard. You really can't take those reviews at face value in this case.
Okay, let's circle back to something we mentioned earlier, that extremely high leverage, up to 1.100000 on their nano accounts. Why is that such a problem?
Offering leverage that high, it's not really a benefit for the trader. It's primarily a risk amplifier.
Right.
Just for comparison, in the EU, regulators cap leverage for major forex pairs at 1.30 for retail clients. The US has strict limits too.
So 1.100 is way beyond what regulated markets allow.
Massively beyond. Leverage magnifies both potential gains and potential losses. At 1.100, even a tiny price movement against your position can completely wipe out your account balance very, very quickly.
A margin call becomes almost inevitable, doesn't it?
For most retail traders using that kind of leverage, yes. It's incredibly easy to lose your entire deposit. Think of it like this. They're letting you control a huge position with a tiny amount of your own money. If that position moves just a fraction of a percent the wrong way, your tiny stake is gone.
So it's less about empowering traders and more about, well, setting them up to lose their deposit, which the broker might then profit from.
That's often the business model for unregulated brokers offering such extreme leverage. They aren't taking the other side of the trade in a regulated way. They often benefit directly when clients get margin called and lose their funds.
It's a predatory practice, really.
It certainly appears that way. It targets perhaps less experienced traders who are attracted by the idea of big potential gains without fully understanding the immense risk.
Okay, so given this pile of red flags, the lack of regulation, targeting restricted areas, CEO's history, fake awards, dodgy reviews, predatory leverage, what should someone do if they are already trading with Aron Groups?
Right. If you find yourself in that situation, the first most critical step is documentation. Save everything.
Like what?
Trade confirmations, deposit records, withdrawal requests, successful or failed, screenshots of your account, copies of all emails or chat logs with their support, everything.
Okay, document everything. Then what?
Report them. Contact the financial regulator in your own country. If you're in the EU, that's ESMA, or your national authority. In the U.S., file complaints with the CFTC and the NFA.
Let the authorities know.
Yes. You should also probably consider legal advice. Since the CEO is known, pursuing legal pressure might be an option, though potentially difficult and costly.
And the other tactics, I've heard people mention trying a strategic withdrawal.
Yes, some traders talk about that. The idea is you pretend you want to deposit more money, maybe a large amount, but first you want to test the withdrawal system with a small amount.
Does that work?
Anecdotally, some claim limited success getting a small sum out that way. But it's absolutely not guaranteed, it's unreliable, and frankly, it feels a bit like playing their game. It's not a real solution.
It's not a solid strategy. Okay, so wrapping all this up, CleaRank's verdict, based on that .2 clear score and everything we've discussed, it's pretty clear-cut.
It is, unfortunately. Aron Group's, also using the name Aron Markets, looks like a regulatory ghost operating outside proper oversight. The evidence points strongly towards deceptive practices targeting vulnerable traders and operating in a way that poses a significant danger to clients' funds.
So, avoid.
Definitely avoid.
Okay, and just to quickly hit some frequently asked questions people might have, what is Aron Groups?
An unregulated offshore broker, also known as Aron Markets.
Is Aron Groups legit?
No. Based on our analysis and the .2 score, it's not a legitimate or safe operation.
Can you withdraw funds from Aron Groups?
It appears to be extremely difficult. Many reports suggest withdrawal requests are ignored or heavily delayed.
What's their regulatory status?
Unregulated, and likely operating illegally in many countries it targets.
Is Aron Groups safe for U.S. or EU traders?
Absolutely not. There's no regulatory protection for traders from those regions.
Are Aron Groups' Trustpilot reviews real?
Highly unlikely. Our analysis suggests about 87% are probably fake.
Who owns Aron Groups?
Farzad Vajihi, who, as we discussed, has links to a previously blacklisted Iranian firm, Ibors.
Are the Aron Group's awards legitimate?
No, they appear to be purchased from award mills, not earned.
So, should you trade with Aron Groups?
We strongly recommend against it, avoid at all costs, look for brokers with high clear scores and proper regulation.
Okay, so to summarize this deep dive, our look at Aron Groups using the CleaRank Clear Score uncovered, well, a lot of serious risks. Lack of real regulation, deceptive marketing, targeting restricted regions, the CEO's troubling past, fake awards, likely fake reviews, and that really dangerous high leverage.
This is a long list.
It is. The evidence strongly suggests Aron Groups is a hazard for traders. We really urge extreme caution. Consider brokers with solid clear scores who operate transparently under respected regulators.
Absolutely. And this whole case really underscores how vital it is, to do your due diligence before sending money anywhere, especially in finance. It brings up a question for everyone listening, really.
Yeah.
In this complex global market with so much noise online, how can you effectively cut through it all? How do you figure out who's trustworthy and understand the regulations that are meant to protect you?
That's a crucial question for traders to think about. And for finding brokers who do meet high standards, we invite you to check out ClearRank.com. You can find clear certified brokers there, ones that meet our criteria for safety and transparency.